Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Burglar, created by the creators of Black Mirror. Now, if you love Tex Avery style cartoons and a Dragons Lair type of interactivity, you'll definitely get a kick out of this cartoon that has a ton of replayability, despite its short runtime. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is very simple and straightforward, as expected for a cartoon short. It's about this cat who's trying to steal a priceless bit of art, which is essentially a cartoonish version of Mona Lisa, from a guard dog at a priceless museum. And the player has to help the cat out when it comes to stealing that piece of art. Basically what happens is a certain obstacle appears in front of the cat. As the cat tries to deal with it, a few questions come up that have two possible answers, usually in a series of 3 questions, and you have to get all the correct answers in order for the cat to move on. Because if you get even one of the questions of the series wrong, the cat will die and you have to start over. The cat only has 3 lives, so if you end up screwing up 3 times, and it doesn't matter how many questions in the series you end up getting wrong, you have to start over from the very beginning if you lose all 3 lives. What's interesting is that even if you lose several times, they change up the scenarios every single time to keep things fresh. So, for example, sometimes the cat will try to distract the guard dog via shadow puppets in one scene, but then he'll try to distract the dog via throwing a baseball in another scene, or playing a violin to make it go asleep in another. And what's great about this is, much like the Cuphead show that I reviewed a few days ago, because it's a cartoon inspired by Tex Avery, there's a lot of cartoon logic on display here. Rubber hose style animation, tons of moments that would never work in real life, tons of old-timey humor that Tex Avery probably would have come up with back in the day, the works. But the questions are more relatively stuff that you'd have general knowledge of. It's just that you have to go so fast that you might slip up, which is where the replayability comes in. They might ask you who are Greek gods, what's good etiquette on a first date, how do you do well on an exam, etc. And not only do the questions constantly change every time, but so do the scenarios. This makes it very rewatchable, and even if you get the good ending, which you can if you manage to get to the end with even 1 life remaining, you can end up with completely different scenarios even when you play again. So playing it once isn't enough. Sometimes you can play it up to 3, 4, even 5 times and still keep finding new material that's animated. Apparently there's about an hour and a half's worth, so just having that for one interactive cartoon makes it way more interesting to follow than something like Escape the Undertaker, which only has a couple of different outcomes, and even then they don't really amount to a whole lot. But yeah, reaching the very end of the interactive quiz feels very satisfying, especially if it doesn't take you that many tries. But I would encourage people to play it again and again in order to see everything. It definitely gives you quite a bit of bang for your buck. Even if the animation doesn't exactly reach the Tex Avery style of quality. It's good for what it is. It's fast-paced, it gets part of the slapstick right, and it does have a lot of the humor that comes from his shorts, but it doesn't have the same level of quality when it comes to hand-drawn animation. But the fact we're getting hand-drawn animation at all nowadays, especially on streaming services, is definitely a godsend. With that said, Cat Burglar is a fun, fast-paced little adventure that you'll definitely want to play again and again, especially if you want to see everything it has to offer. That's why I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. See you next time.